Welcome back, Rellism Sports Talk, episode 147. And before we get into it, I got to give a couple shout outs real quick. My boy Darren out there in California, Fat Boy Fadeaway, check him out on YouTube, doing big things. My other boy Jimmy from Far End of the Bench podcast, and he's in Denver, but he's a Bengal fan. Sorry that you didn't get to see your game, but there's some real stuff going on. I was with them with the Variety Sports Network. We were doing Talkn the Gridiron. Great show. Appreciate y'all letting me be on there. And always the sports prophet, Mr. Jason, who does his 3rd and 3 with Damon and Nikki. Appreciate it. I've been on the Power Hour show that he has. Teague's Take, Mr. George Teague, you started the platform for me. And my man C. Henry, who does that sports rap on Anchor. Y'all have helped me build and build and build. We're over 200 subscribers right now, with our newest one being Mr. Isaac at EMU in my neck of the woods in VA. So thank y'all for watching on YouTube, listening on Anchor and Spotify. Got the Facebook page rolling, got the Instagram page rolling. I'm sitting here with my man Jared, the producer, a.k.a. the producer, because we already know what he already does. Whether it's behind the scenes or on the scene, he keeping this show extra clean. And I'm the host, Terrell Jenkins. Whether I'm right or wrong, when I'm right, I'm on. When I'm wrong, I had you going. That's the way we do it. Because on Rellism Sports Talk, we talk about sports from Hall of Famers to the local talent to the big-time storylines. Now, unfortunately, the biggest storyline there is the prayer and health and everything from Mr. Demar Hamlin, number 3. We always got you right here in the logo on the show. I mean, everybody's thinking about you. The world is. Family, it's horrifying, and it brings a real life to something that we always look as fake people or superheroes or something like that. So it just shows a different kind of meaning. And I wouldn't do it justice by starting with him, because I like to finish with something so serious like him. So we're going to talk about the other things first, as far as the fantasy football aspect, what the NFL should do or what we think they might do as far as the game, making it up, not making it up. And then I'm going to dive into some personal things. If the producer has something he wants to throw in on that, that's cool. As far as what sports does for the world, really. Sports changes the world. It's a big hug around us, and we always gravitate to it, and that's why we love it so much. And then the 4th thing that we do, I'm going to dive into Demar and as the person, not the Buffalo Bill. You ready, producer?
I'm ready.
You ready to do it?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So Monday night was a big night. Like I said, I was on the Variety Sports Network with Darren and Jimmy, Bengals fan, and we had a great show. And we were just hyping up the game, and everybody was. I mean, it was everything was on the line. Divisional, seedings and everything, fantasy. The game started off fast. Did you watch the beginning of it?
No, I was working on other stuff. I knew it was on, and I was like, I'll just turn it on here in like the 2nd quarter.
Yeah. And you get it. I can hear it and listen, whatever. Yep. Started off fast. Burrow went down the field doing Burrow things, going there and throwing a touchdown. First drive, hyped up. Bills come back. You could see the intensity in the game. Everybody knew this was a playoff type game, and it meant a lot. You could see it. Josh Allen goes down there. They almost score a touchdown. They get a field goal. Very next drive, and T. Higgins is on my fantasy team. Burrow hits T. Higgins. I'm like, yes, combination points for me. And I see the tackler get up. And all of a sudden, I saw him go down. And that's the Damar Hamlin play. And that's unfortunately all we should be talking about. First of all, not that we have to. It's that we should be, because that's a real-life human being. That could have been anybody, any one of us, kids that play, anybody that we could have been associated with. It could have been something that relates to us, and I think that's why we gravitate to it. But like I said, I'm going to get to that towards the end. We're going to get the other shenanigans out of the way because, the world does go on, and I'm not trying to sound a different kind of way like that, but NFL is big business. So I'm glad to hear that his oxygen's getting better, his breathing, things of that nature. And I pray that it's nothing that, severe that goes on the other end. Whether he plays football or not, we don't care about that. Whether it's going to be tragedy or not, the NFL is going to keep going. Big business, big money, they're going to keep going. So before we get to what really matters is him, since you were in 2 fantasy championship games, I was in 1 and I was in the 3rd place game. We're gonna start off with the fantasy impact because I feel like that's the lowest of the 4. You know, no, we love fantasy football, so we might. I mean, to us, it's since big. We Redskin fans, it might be higher than the NFL playoff.
To us, it's big, but to everybody out on that field, it was not.
Yeah.
Very big.
There's nothing that's compared to that.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah. But let's get into it.
All right, so fantasy football, so you were into finals.
I was.
Did this game impact either one of those finals for you? How did it impact?
So my Pineapple League, that one was blown out.
Hold on. What's the name of the league?
It's a Pineapple Salvation Squad.
How'd you come up with that?
It was actually my wife. It was something that was said in a pool a long time ago, and we're
in
like,
the pool. We don't need to hear about what you.
No, it wasn't me.
Hey, Pineapple. No.
Somebody lost a pineapple in a drink, and he said, "Save the pineapple, save the pineapple." So that turned into be our fantasy football team league name. So, anyways, our Pineapple League.
Okay.
That one, I sealed that up early in the day. That one was blown out of the water.
So that game didn't impact that one.
No. But my other league, I have Jamar Chase, and the guy I'm going against has T. Higgins, and
how close was the score?
I should have had more points, but anything could have happened. Chase gets a few catches more than T. Higgins.
I mean, what was the score difference going into that game?
It's like 20 points.
But anything
I needed something big.
But
right?
Higgins was on his way, it looked like.
Yeah, he was. So, but yeah, we're in a holding pattern there because really anything can happen when you're 15, 20 points in a fantasy league. 15, 20 points can be anything, like any number of things can happen. Yeah. And we're kind of on a.
So y'all haven't decided it yet?
No, we haven't. We're waiting. We're waiting to see what the NFL does with. Are they going to add another week? Are they going to just say the score stands as it is, and you get to keep your fantasy points where they are now? Or are they just going to say, get rid of all the stats? We're just going to say it's a nothing tie and move on. We don't know what they're going to do because then that would take away our points and it'd still stand that way. So
y'all are holding
yeah, because there's still 3 options for that.
It is, and we're gonna get to the NFL side of it. So let's say that who's your commissioner in that league? In that league, whoever it is. Suppose that commissioner says, we're going to do the stats that happen in the game, and that's it, and that's the final. Yeah. Would you be okay with that? Do you think that your competitor would be okay with that?
Yeah, we've already actually had a text conversation. He texted me yesterday and said, hey, you know what? Let's just split the pot.
And he was ahead by 20.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He said, hey, let's just split the pot. We put things back into the league. We buy the draft board. Sure. He said, let's just go out for beers and food and whatever. Split the pot. We'll go hang out together like that. So we're pretty cordial there, right? But I said, hey, I love that. But let's wait and see. Let's see what happens. I didn't want to put the cart before the horse.
That's because you want to be the winner.
I mean, I was behind by 20 points, of course. I've never won that league, so I wanted to win.
If I was down by 20, I might have said, let's go ahead and split it. We can be co-champions if I ain't never won before. But
I still needed my chance.
But see, in my leagues, we play for rings. So it ain't going to be no sharing rings and all that stuff, even though I will like to share with Kev on that one ring, which should have been mine. Brandon and everybody knows what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to get into that. But I've heard so many different things as far as, sharing the championship and things. But this is why you have to be in league with cool people that you are friends with, because this could turn nasty. This could turn ugly.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with, I heard people having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars per team. And one of the best stories I did here today was the first place and second place. They said, you know what? Let's donate the $800 to his cause.
Oh, yeah.
I said, who does that? But that's what sports does.
Listen,
it's crazy.
This is uncharted waters. And sometimes when something like that happens, even the most fiercest competitors, I mean, you see them out there on the field, on the courts every day, every year. And they want to win so badly. They got bigger things to win than we do.
Sure, of course.
And they will, if something like this happens, and we've seen it, maybe not this severe, but in other cases, they'll say, you know what? Let's put all that other stuff aside, and let's all just come together and show that we are a family. And I think that's when you're playing in a fantasy league. you should be playing with guys that you know and trust and can go out and have a beer with afterwards and be able to say something like that, you know?
I don't mind having a beer afterwards, but I don't know if I'm going to give up my $800, yo. I mean, I'm just keeping it real, you know? Or I'm not giving up my ring either. But we can do something. I can help promote number 3 all day long because that's the focus of everything. But salutes to whoever did stuff like that. I'm all for it. I wish I could afford to do that. If I could afford to do that, I'd be donating all kinds of causes. So, but yeah, kudos to people with that. People don't kill each other over this fantasy football situation. All right, so the next one, number 2, the NFL impact. Like we said, this was a big-time game.
Yep.
Big ramifications going on. The Bills were the number 1 seed. The Bengals had a chance to claim that number 1 seed.
Yep. Changes
everything. So we've heard that they said they're not going to replay the game. Then they said not this week. Then they said maybe they're going to postpone something else. Then they said maybe they're going to move this from the week 19. If you were the commissioner, what would you want to happen? No fantasy aspirations or nothing about it. What would you deem as fair?
Well, I'd love to see the game get played because, like you said, big-time implications with that game. So, if it was the Commanders and Cowboys game coming up, hey, nobody needs to be playing that.
Right.
But vying for that number 1 spot, I think that game needs to be played. And if that means having a Week 19 just for them or maybe having a second Monday night game, adding, I don't know. No, they don't. That was a dumb idea. See, this is why I need notes, Terrell.
But, I mean, it's not about notes. It's about just personal opinions.
Yeah, no. Probably a Week 19 just because there's so much on the line for that one.
Yeah. I agree, but here's my problem with that. By putting it at Week 19, sure the logistics and the change in the schedules can work out. What happens with Week 18? What happens if the Bills win a game or whatever and they clinch something else and they don't need to play Week 19? Or let's say Week 18 happens and Josh Allen, heaven forbid, gets hurt. He's not going to be available for 19. So do we want to see Week 19 with no Josh Allen going against the Bengals? To rehash these crazy feelings in our hearts?
You're asking me as the NFL, you never say the name Josh Allen without saying Joe Burrow and vice versa.
Exactly right.
And those are big-time money guys for them. And in a primetime spot, and heaven forbid, man, they can use this as a, hey, come watch the rest of this game, or let us wipe the slate clean, let's actually get this game going. That's money for them. That's money makers out on the field for them.
It is. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna say one thing real quick, and I'm going to come back to that, and I'm going to give you how both things can work together. We'll come back to that. But, so people were complaining about the game not being played because the players didn't want to play. But I remember 9/11, nobody played Week 2, right?
Baseball
stopped. And I also remember in the bubble with the Black Lives Matter, they went on the court and said, we're not playing, right? So this is not the first time. This is not a precedented thing where the players say, we're not going to play. And in these kind of situations, I'm all for it. Because I could not imagine seeing somebody that I grind with all the time. And you don't know the kind of relationship these people have in the locker room. Not all of them are best friends. But when you are in a football locker room, I talk to my son about this all the time when he plays. I say, what does it feel like, being in, and he would just tell me the brotherhood and just the camaraderie, even with people that you might not necessarily get along with. You need that person to go to battle with to do it. So I couldn't imagine, first of all, seeing somebody get hurt. It's like, dang, that person got hurt, a concussion. But then to see you out here CPR on somebody.
Right.
So this is why I say, let the game go. Don't play the game. Don't go nowhere near Cincinnati's field with these two teams. And by saying that, sure, the two teams that hurts the most is Buffalo, because now if the Chiefs win, they'll be the number 1 seed.
Right.
It hurts the Bengals because they can't get the number 1 seed. And it hurts the Ravens because now the Ravens cannot win the division because they're 2 games behind them now, behind the Bengals. So the Bengals are going to be number 3. The Bills are going to be number 2. Chiefs will be 1 as long as everybody wins. And we think that all of them should win. But by going with that, like we were talking about before, check this out. Round 2. And I think it's going to be the Chargers. Chargers are going to win, and then they're going to play the Chiefs. And we already saw the Chargers almost should have beat the Chiefs earlier in the year. That's going to be a big-time matchup the way the Chargers are coming back. But then the other semifinal game, would be Bills and Bengals in Buffalo. In Buffalo, though. So we're not going back to Cincinnati. Yeah. And I think it doesn't matter because Cool Joe can go to Buffalo. And I just think going back to the same field, people are going to look at that same spot on the yard line. And it's just going to I don't know. I think the mindset's always going to be there anyway.
Right.
But I think for that game to be in Buffalo in the playoffs, I think they're both superior teams. They're going to live for that moment and do it. And you talk about the money on that game.
Oh, my goodness.
Everybody's watching that game.
Well, if I can add one more thing to that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know, those two teams are good enough that I think they will go toe-to-toe with anybody you put in front of them.
Yes.
So seeding should not matter for them. They should be able to go in. They're both built to go in and stand toe-to-toe, right? They're not going to get blown out of the water by anybody that you put in front of them. You can go give them number 6 seed and let them go against Kansas City first round.
That's right.
They'll stand toe-to-toe. So, you know, like I told you, talking through the NFL, sure, I want to get them out there.
You want that money.
I want that money.
You heard what they said, 5 minutes. Get ready in 5 minutes, guys.
But at the same time, we don't need them out there.
No,
we don't need
exactly.
them out there. And they don't need to be out there.
Just looking at their faces and stuff, they would say, I'm guaranteed, of course they'd be disappointed they didn't get the 1 seed or whatever, but I'm sure they would say, I'd rather not play that game again.
Yeah.
And I'll take my chance with that 2 or 3 because I've seen Joe Burrow own Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I've seen Josh Allen go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes and go down and win a game and his defense gave away. So like you said, I don't care what their seed is, they're going to play each other in the second round, and then the winners go play Kansas City. It could only have been fitting if it was the AFC Championship game. But
right.
This is still going to be great. It sucks for both of them. But I think that the Chiefs might be scared than anybody because the country's going to be wanting one of these two teams to win. Who's not going to... An average fan, if you're not a fan of Buffalo or Cincinnati, and you're watching, like, we're not. We're Redskin fans. So we're going to be sitting there watching like, I'm kind of leaning on Buffalo. I'm kind of leaning on... You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be doing that because it's like, look what they had to go do. What'd you do, Patrick Mahomes? You're making Subway commercials. I mean, get out. You know what I mean? I mean, come on, bro. Like, you know, so I just hope one of those two make the Super Bowl now. I hope one of those two teams
it'd be the most Cinderella storyline we've had in a long time. And
if Buffalo gets there and wins, and he survives, and he gets to be on the field, even if he's not playing, if he gets to be on the sideline, I could just see this, and look, I'm getting emotional thinking about it because that's something that the world would love, and it brings people together, and it just makes us feel better. And I'm gonna get emotional because we're getting to number 3. Number 3 is why we love sports.
Yeah.
Why do we love sports? And when I was thinking about it, I said, why do I love sports? And I started thinking, and I said, I love it because it deflects any kind of wrongdoings, personal issues, work, any kind of bad thing in your life. You could be like, just let me get an hour just to watch a game. Mm-hmm. It makes your mind go away from things. And I bring it up personally to me, especially with this show, and that's why I'm so grateful for you with enhancing this show because I'm a little older, so I don't really know about all this technology. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. I know I got the baby face, but I'm a little older, so anyway. I always got to throw me in there. I'm always me. Anyway. So, COVID came.
Yeah. The
world shut down. The world was whatever. And me and my friends, we like to talk about sports. Absolutely. And my daughter had a YouTube channel called Fizzy's Playhouse. She's going to kill me for saying that. But I was like, you know what? Let me make one of those. And then we started interacting with each other, talking. And now it is what it is now. And it all started because of our love for sports to deflect the bad things in our lives or the things that just bring us down. And at that time, it was COVID. And on a couple personal issues, my mother passed away earlier this year. Everybody knows I've had a couple shows. And I was down and out, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I think about my mama every single day. She's right there behind me. You know what I'm saying? I still got love for my Commanders, love for the Black Mamba, and all the love for my mama. You know what I'm saying? So I was laying in bed. I was telling you earlier. And I told him on the show, something just beat me up saying, get up and go do your show. Mm-hmm. You need to go do that. And I don't know if that's something that helps somebody or nothing. I don't know. But I know me watching sports helped me. And, my boy Big Dave that passed away, Same things. These type sports make us just think about positive things, and I love it. What about you? Does sports have any kind of impact on you with stuff like that? Or?
Oh yeah, I'd be a terrible conversationalist without sports. First of all, but no, to feed off of what you're saying is sometimes sports kind of kicks us in gear.
Yeah.
Get up off that couch. Stop sitting around worrying about what happened. Move forward and make something positive happen, which is what you've done here. And I can't really think of something else that time and time again shows that it can do that.
Well, look at you. You coach. Your kids play sports. Mm-hmm. You coach all-star things. That's a passion.
Oh, yeah.
You are impacting lives because of coaching. Oh, yeah. I've coached for a long time, and people still look at me as Coach T. And people I've coached are grown men now, and I look at them and I'm like, man, you're not in jail. You're doing good things with your life. And it's not a pat on our back. It's just sports put us in those positions to do these things.
Right. And that's not lost on me that, eventually these kids are going to go off and have their own lives, and eventually they're going to talk about Coach Jared, right?
There you go.
That's not lost on me. But at the same time, when I'm in the moment, I'm just worried about building character.
Yes. Build men.
We don't sit back and go, I need you to be a grown man or a grown woman right now, or this is what I'm going to turn you into. It's in that moment. I need you to be a leader. Yeah. I need you to have some sportsmanship. I need you to understand what is really happening right in front of you.
Yeah. And that's perfect to say it like that. It is, man. It's nothing better, man. Nobody thinks about it, in any kind of way. Winning and losing, sure, we always want to win.
Sure.
I'm a competitive guy. I want to win at everything I do. But people that know me, my first year coaching football, I sat the star player down because he wouldn't listen, and rest his soul, he's passed away. But it built character for the rest of the guys for the future of what we were trying to do. And that's what it's all about, man. Building better men and building things that we didn't have and stuff like that. And sports does that for us. So getting into it now a little deeper, I look at how so many things are going on in the world. I mean, it's unreal that he had a fundraiser called Chasing M's. He started 3 years ago, a toy drive. And he was a couple $1,000 is what his goal was and everything like that. Now it's over $6 million.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, this guy, he had to have this tragic moment happen in front of the world for people.
For someone to take notice.
To take notice and want to donate to this charity. Mm-hmm. And so I get to the point, and I'm not trying to be a stickler about anything because I'm all about helping and supporting. Like I said, if I was rich, I would love to do that just to share it with people. But why do we have to have tragedy and shortcomings for people like this to build us together or to acknowledge different things that we should have been paying attention to a long time ago? And that's the one thing that bothers me about a lot of things. This country is so divided over mediocre things and little petty things, and we're so quick to get mad or enamored with certain things. Oh, I don't feel appreciated. But the big thing like this happens, and now we want to be buddy because we share an opinion about this sports star, that was 24 years old that is still fighting for his life right now. I wish we didn't have to have him pass out for him to get $6 million for his charity.
Sure.
Or for people to pay attention to different things or aspects that's going on in this world. What do you feel about that? Anything to throw in on that? Or
it just feels like human nature to get super comfortable and then need something so jarring, something so unexpected to just say, hey, you can't live like that all the time, or some kind of change needs to be made. It's just a human nature. We fall we fall into our routines and get so comfortable with day-to-day stuff that we forget that we're actually living a full life. We're only worried about what's right in front of us at that moment. With the technology these days, sometimes you get screens in front of faces and everybody forgets you're sitting all in a room. Go have some fun together. And sometimes, I think life is just funny that way, that unfortunately, sometimes vast majority of people have to see something like this happen to go, you know what? I have a bigger life to live. Let's go put this stuff down and go live a good life.
Yeah, that's perfectly said, man. And I'm believing that he will get out and get up and walk.
Yep.
But is that going to stop people from being together? Are we gonna forget what that moment did, bringing people together, waiting outside the hospital, doing different things? We don't know who this guy is, but we always have a common goal. And that's in the world. We always want to be we always want to be a part of something. We always want to be a part of a team. We always want to be a part of something that we can do together. I wish we could find other avenues to do this, to bring this world better than always a tragedy. It's kind of like, families, especially, my families and things. I haven't seen people in a long time, but when there's a funeral, you see everybody.
Yep.
Instead of the funeral, let's get more family reunions.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Instead of somebody passing out on the field, let's figure out a ways that extra people can go to a game or something. I don't know.
Right.
Any kind of things that we can do. I don't know. But it's just crazy. I know sports is entertainment. And in entertainment, we know our expectations. So we look at baseball. You're a big baseball guy. When you look at a baseball player, we're like, okay, the worst things that can happen is somebody get hit with a ball or the batter hits him with a ball or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen but this many times. And if it does, the ball, break an arm, something like that. Sure, sometimes it can hit their head, but 99.9% of the time, it's going to be something they can bounce back from, right? Or PEDs. You can get suspended, you'll be back. You look at basketball, you're like, oh, he sprained his ankle or he broke his leg a certain way. He'll be back. Whatever. In WWE, we didn't know, nobody paid attention to that until it got risque with the Attitude Era. When it was like, hold on, something's different now. What's going on? Now with the football players, when he went down, I bet you nobody blinked an eye because we thought, oh, helmet to helmet, he got a concussion, he's out, he'll wheel out, he'll put his thumb up, and we're going to move on with the game.
Yep, we've seen this before.
You know your expectations, right? This was not our expectations. We did not see grown men that looked like they this big hugging and crying. That's when you know things were different. And men sobbing in their face. Josh Allen's face looked like he saw a ghost. Like his face was pale white. And I mean, just certain images that we saw shows that this was something different. And it also shows that we all are the same. We all are the same, no matter what. They're not superheroes. Anything else you want to say before I get to point 4, when we talk about the man, Demar Hamlin, and different kind of things like that?
No, I think we tied a bow on that. It shows those guys are human too. No matter what sport they play, they're all brothers, sisters.
Yeah, and that community of that fraternity of NFL players. That's one in a blue moon, dude, to make it to the NFL.
Actually, if I can, I'll say something else that kind of popped up to me a little bit ago. These guys that make it to the NFL, they've played on the same high school teams before. They've played on the same college teams before. Yes. It doesn't matter where they're scattered all across America right now. They've shared dorms together. Yes. They've had cookouts together. They've been in weddings together.
Exactly.
You might see, we might see Commanders Cowboys, right? Boom, boom, boom. How many of those guys actually truly have a love for each other?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And me, I'm one of those old school dudes. I like the old NBA when they fighting, Bulls and Knicks hate each other and they hate. I like that. I don't want to see Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas kissing. I want you going after each other.
Yeah.
So just like you said, now that's real life now. So getting to Demar, 24 years old, his life is the biggest thing right now. Biggest thing right now, and his younger brother, he's an idol to. He's playing football. His dad's coaching football. These are going to impact that child, the child on the teams. It's going to hit so many different people. He's not just a Buffalo Bill. He's, like you said, he's a teammate. He's a friend. Just like AAU basketball. You play with different people, same thing. They got 7-on-7 teams. They got all these different teams that people know who he is that didn't make it to the NFL.
Right.
How are they feeling right now? How are these coaches feeling that had him? I mean, he's going to impact so many people on so many different levels. And it's not even about the Buffalo Bills and NFL. It's about him being a human being and a person that had to work tremendously hard to get to where he was. And he had to have so much of a support system to get there. Nobody's making this here without a trail of people to help them get there or influence them or whatnot. So he has impacted so many different people that nobody can even think of. But getting swept away from it before I get back into him, what? First responders in Cincinnati.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they jumped out there so fast. If they wouldn't have there, we'd not be talking about him having a fighting chance right now.
Yeah, you know, one thing I noticed was I didn't see it live, but once I saw a replay of it, there was like 2 players and even 2 referees that were like, get out quickly. Here now. Like, kudos to those guys, too.
Yeah, those are heroes. I know we say football players, those dudes, those men and women that was on that field, those first responders, and the people in that Cincinnati hospital, y'all are the real MVP. Y'all are the heroes. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many touchdowns you make or whatever. You saving lives. That's what it's all about, and that's why I love working in what I do at the nursing home. I got my tongue tied because I get so emotional about it. Yeah. But I love interacting with the elderly and trying to just help them with their lives or whatever. I couldn't imagine how they felt, the pressure they were on. You know, I have had one moment when I was a restaurant manager where a guy passed out in the parking lot, busted his head, and we're trying to do CPR. And I'm not nobody special, but he wound up living. And his mom came in like 2 weeks later and was thanking me and everything like that. But he did a moment. You're not thinking about that. You're thinking about doing the right thing.
Right.
Doing the right thing. And kudos to those guys. Much appreciated. Much blessings to all of them. So, like I said, we understand everything about the NFL, what they do on the field, but this was too real. Sports is an entertainment to take our minds off of realness. It's our matrix to get away from life for a little bit, whether it's to chill with our friends, having a beer, just thinking about nothing that's stressful, except for if you're playing a fantasy game and you're trying to win. Mm-hmm. But this was too real, and this is why it's hitting us so hard, because this takes away the aura of, okay, nothing bad's gonna happen to them.
Untouchable.
Yeah, they're untouchable. We've seen this before. That's the worst that can happen. He's got a concussion. He'll come back. You know what I mean?
ACLs.
I mean, look at Ron Shazier. That play when he got hurt, we were watching it, and it was scary as hell. And now I look at him changing lives when he rehabilitated himself and he's doing all these things. Those are what we expect. We think that that's the hardest thing that's going to happen to him. That's the worst thing that's going to happen to a football player. And now look at him now, still changing lives.
Yep.
The LeGrand dude from Rutgers who got paralyzed, has a dreads, and he's still doing different things. You know, but seeing this, and of course it's always going to be hindsight right now because we don't know what's going to happen. But he's getting better, and we're thinking about it. The world's thinking about him. And seeing this just shows that we're all the same. And all it takes is any one circumstance, and it feels the same way. Mm-hmm. Feels the same way. What else you got, producer?
No, I'm good.
We praying for you, number 3. We praying for you, number 3. Great show, my man.
Yeah.
Great show, dude. On the fly. You don't need no notes, baby. You don't need no notes. You Washington fan. We get this natural, baby. I told you, whether behind the scenes or on the scene, he keeping the show extra clean. Appreciate y'all watching Rellism Sports Talk, episode 147. Prayers. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Oh, you got it. What am I doing?
I'm the producer, man. Leave me alone.
Look, I'm touching stuff. I just got to smile pretty.
Tell the people bye.
Thank y'all.